I'm really happy to be here. Thank you to Food First NL for inviting me to do this. As I was cut off saying last week, I don't get many opportunities to talk broadly about the Pye Centre to folks in the rest of the province and beyond. So that's why this opportunity is really exciting for me. And we're just coming off of a growing season here at the Pye Centre. It's just a great time to look back kind of and reflect on what it is we've been doing, what we've been up to, and I'm really happy to present to you today. Um, I'm going to try and keep this to probably 25 minutes or so, and then hopefully there'll be some discussion, or if you have questions or comments, then I'd be happy to get into that with you. So I guess the presentation that I'm going to do today is kind of to dispel any kind of misconceptions that the Pye Centre is just a farm. The Pye Centre for Northern Boreal Food Systems, in my opinion, is much more than that. Yes, we do have a farm. That is a very important piece of our infrastructure. However, it's just kind of a launching point as far as I'm concerned for all of the incredible things that we get to do here, which is so uniquely positioned to serve the mission of the Labrador campus. So the Pye Centre for Northern Boreal Food Systems is more than just a farm, and I hope that this presentation will be able to demonstrate that for you. So first of all, I'll talk about myself. So my name is Jamie Jackman. I'm the program coordinator for the Pye Centre for Northern Boreal Food Systems. I've been working at the Labrador campus since 2017. And almost the entire time that I've spent with the Labrador campus has either been the dreaming about the Pye Centre and then finding ways to make it come into reality. And then once we had it, we were able to grow it into what the community has kind of mandated for us in terms of the outcomes of the consultations that we had when this was just a dream. So I was born and raised mostly right here in Happy Valley-Goose Bay. However, I'm of mixed Inuit and settler ancestry. I'm from Hopedale originally. I moved here when I was 4 because my dad is a teacher from Newfoundland. He went to Hopedale, met my mom, and the rest is kind of history. But we did end up here in Happy Valley-Goose Bay. I also wear I wear many hats as well. And the most important one that I wear is obviously that of a father. My daughter is Violet, and my son is William. They're 13 and 12 respectively. And everything that I do as a person is to trying to demonstrate to them what it means to live with purpose and to use your gifts in the spirit of collaboration towards developing better communities. So that's kind of what I aspire to do for them. I'm also happen to be a master's student at the Labrador campus in the School of Arctic and Subarctic Studies. I'm doing a interdisciplinary master's with a focus on contemporary Labrador folk music. I'm also a lifelong artist. I play in a band called Silver Wolf Band, and music and art have been a big part of my life, as well as this, of course. So again, that's a little bit about me. Sure, there's lots more too, and I'd be happy to answer them if they come up in the questions. So as to why it is that I'm doing this, I guess, and that's me. So the Pye Centre is situated on the homelands of the Innu and Inuit of Labrador. And we're located right here in Happy Valley-Goose Bay, right at 80 Mud Lake Road, actually, if anybody's familiar with this area. And we are part of the Labrador campus of Memorial University. So I want to explain a little bit about how the Pye Centre fits into that. So the Pye Centre is a part of the Labrador campus. The other part of the Labrador campus is the School of Arctic and Subarctic Studies, and together they make up what is the Labrador campus here in Goose Bay, which is the newest academic unit of Memorial University. It used to be the Labrador Institute and became the campus in 2022, I believe, officially. So I'll always refer to it as the Labrador campus, never the Labrador Institute anymore. So because it's a very proud thing for us to have an academic degree granting unit here in Labrador. It's pretty incredible and something we're very proud of. So the farm itself is, it's a hub for Northern focused and community-led food systems research. It's also about community and wellness and and land-based education. So I'm going to get into some of the parts of the Pye Centre a little bit later, so it kind of breaks it down. So I want to start with Memorial University, Labrador campus, Pye Centre, you know, under there. So that's kind of the tree to give you a sense of why this is associated with the Labrador campus and the university in our province. Also, the farm is 80 acres. I should have mentioned that too. Like, just to give you kind of an understanding of how big the property is here, the farm is 80 acres. There's only probably about 24 acres of it cleared. And I intend to keep it that way because we're food systems, and food systems are not just agriculture. It's also the berries that grow here, the Labrador tea, the birds, the animals, everything that encompasses this acreage. And I think that's important to note. And again, in my kind of mission to not downplay the fact that we're a farm, but to just highlight some of the other incredible things that we're about. Agriculture is obviously a big part of it, but there are many other things that we're working towards as well. So the Pye Centre itself was established in 2019. And again, I mentioned that I started at the campus or the institute at that point, but the campus now in 2017. So when I came over to the Labrador campus from the Labrador Friendship Center, where I was in charge of the food bank and other community programs there, I was really excited to hear that there's a farm here that is undergoing kind of a transition, okay? And I think that that's really important to mention as well, is that Frank and Joyce Pye were the previous owners of this farm that was called Grand River Farm at the time. And at that time, there was a big document, you guys will probably remember it, it's called The Way Forward, and a lot of that had to do with food security. And actually Memorial University was named a number of times in there. So it kind of gave a good impetus for us to proceed with this acquisition of the farm. And because Frank and Joyce Pye were kind of some of the first commercial farmers in the area, we were actually able to, we knew too that they were very community minded and community focused with their outreach and starting the community outdoor market and that sort of thing. So we thought it would be kind of cool to honor them by naming the Pye Centre at the Pye Centre after them in spirit of kind of community development and collaboration, which they were champions of. And of course, that didn't come about without tremendous amount of community consultation. We spoke to all levels of government. We had community conversations with nonprofits, with each Indigenous organization here in Labrador, and many, many more. And we kind of took what the common themes from that and then proceeded so that we knew we were moving in a direction by community. And they really helped us to set priorities. And that's kind of how the Pye Centre came to be. And of course, we're very unique. There's not a lot of northern-based farms or centers such as this that are focused on these things in the north. So we're very unique in that way. And of course, that means there's lots of challenges and things that we have to figure out. So we're learning. I think we're in our 6th year here now at the Pye Centre since 2019. And every year we're still growing. We're very much still in our infancy in that regard. So I mentioned there's kind of 3 core tenets or umbrellas, I guess, of the Pye Centre and our vision moving forward. And those are food systems research, land-based education, wellness, and community. And the food systems research part is really interesting. A lot of the agricultural research that happens here is directly informed by farmers because, as I mentioned, the consultations, of course, included local producers of all levels. And any research that happens here at the farm has to align with a priority that is set by our group of farmers that we've consulted with here in Labrador. So that way we're not doing research for research's sake. There is a applicable outcome. So the information has to be shared with them, and then it has to be something that is being figured out and trialed that local farmers have addressed as somewhat of a concern to them. Also in food systems research, we've had partnerships with researchers. We don't do much of our own formal research as the Pye Centre or Labrador campus, but we have a really good ongoing partnership with Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada. So they come in and they make sure that their trials are centered around those priorities, which has made them an incredible example of a good community partner that aligns well with our vision and our mandate here at the Pye Centre. We've also been able to offer our own funding because we were able to reach out to, the John and Judy Bragg Family Foundation gave us money so that we could actually give money to local farmers to do their own research. And those were $10,000 grants that we were able to distribute. And that was really nice. And again, it shows that research is not one thing. We all are researchers in our own regard, and especially, I think, farmers and local food producers. Land-based education is another kind of piece of the pie. It's important because, as I mentioned, the School of Arctic and Subarctic Studies, there's a master's level degree program and also a PhD program offered through there. And just this September, we launched our BASIS program, which is a Bachelor of Arctic and Subarctic Studies, interdisciplinary studies. So it's a 3-year bachelor degree that is module based and not quite semester based, and a lot of that is incorporating land-based education, which is amazing when you have a place like the Pye Centre. It allows you to do those types of innovative ways of learning and teaching. So we're very lucky there. And also, we don't just focus on, I guess, university or post-secondary education in terms of land-based education, because we also offer what's called the Labrador Lands and Waters Science Camp. Because here in Labrador, we don't have access to a ton of science-based or STEM-based learning camps like you would in Ontario or anywhere else, really. There's focused camps in the summer for school-age students. So with the Labrador Lands and Waters Science Camp, we have a week-long camp where we invite students from grades 7 to 11 to come from all over Labrador. And basically, it's module-based days where we learn about science-based careers, and we do exercises and demonstrations, hands-on, very, very hands-on throughout the week. And we invite local partners and scientists to come in and show and do modules with the students. And a lot of that is food-based too, which is excellent. And so that they can kind of see a career path in science and how that actually looks in the real world. And it gives them a chance to work together and discover new fields and some things were like drones, polar bears and whatnot. And we can get more into that later. But we also have, over the last couple of years, been inviting high school, our local high school, Muley Mountain Collegiate, comes down in the spring, helps us plant or transplant things at the farm. And then they'll come back in the fall when they're another grade up and help us harvest it. So that's been ongoing for about 3 years, and that's been an incredible experience. And it's growing and growing. And now we have grade 3s to grade 9s coming down regularly to take part in the bounty of our harvest season, and they also get to learn and experience the outdoors here at the Pye Centre, which has been really, really wonderful. And wellness and community is another kind of piece of the pie. So, what really triggered this for me and made me realize that this place is more than a farm. It is a place to engage with the land. Long-term care residents here at our health center in Labrador, in Goose Bay, Labrador Health Center. We had 3 years ago, we started bringing them down on Thursdays just to kind of be here and engage with some activities. And most of the time they just come down and be outside for about an hour, hour and a half, but they really look forward to it. We really look forward to it. And they've kind of been a launching point for our wellness, to increase kind of our wellness offerings here at the Pye Centre. So they come down. We have Farm Fun Day. So you'll see like on a picture there, Farm Fun Day, that's the sign. This is a kind of a celebration to the end of the growing season. We invite farmers down from the community. We invite local crafters. We have food vendors. We have entertainment. We have prizes and animals, come here. And this year was our 5th annual Farm Day. And we invited there was over 1,000 people came to our farm day. Now, keep in mind that there's only 7,500 people to 8,000 people here in Happy Valley-Goose Bay. So it's an incredible success, and people really look forward to this every year, and it gives us an opportunity to introduce people to the Pye Centre. People love to dress up to come down because it's, that time of year, the leaves are so beautiful, and it's just a photo op for whatever you do there looks great in a picture. So people have noticed this, have been coming to get, it's kind of like become an annual tradition for families, and that's been awesome. We're also trying to open up the farm for accessibility trails as well. Like I mentioned, the long-term care, I really wanted to get them away from just the same spot that we always stick to. But in order to do that, we need to have accessible trails, which needs to have sort of some kind of surface that wheelchairs can go on. So that's something else that I've been developing, and we've been developing here at the Pye Centre. So I'll just kind of give you an overview sort of the pieces of the uh, Pye Centre. I hope you're having fun so far. But of course, it's not just me. It's not even close. I'm not a farmer. I'm just somebody who likes to help people plan, then get them what they need to do their jobs, and then get out of the way. So that's kind of where I come in, but this is our team. And we don't have any animals per se at the Pye Centre, but I definitely think we have unicorns. And I'll explain to you how that is. And these are the unicorns. They are incredible people who devote their time to this place throughout the year, but especially in the summer. I want to introduce you to Darla Seward, Lem Seward, and Zara Munez. Darla is a teacher for many, many years, and she's retired from that now, but she's always been a farmer here in Happy Valley-Goose Bay. So she's been mainly focused on our greenhouse production here, but she's also, again, like a teacher. So whenever we have students down, she just takes right over, and she knows how to talk to them. She knows how to motivate them, inspire them. And it's been absolutely incredible experience getting to watch her work. Over right on the right is Zara. Zara is a greenhouse assistant. She actually started 3 years ago as a volunteer because she wanted to learn English better. So Darla was actually her English as a second language kind of teacher. But she's also from Sri Lanka, where she was a florist and she grew orchids. That was kind of her job. So she's really big into growing food. So that was perfect. But then we were able to find funding to hire her, and now she's been working on the farm for 3 years, and she's incredible. She's a great social media kind of influencer. She speaks in her own language, so you might not see her, but she's got thousands and thousands of followers, and her talents are now going to help with the Pye Centre moving forward with our establishment of what we want to call a digital farm library. And in the middle is Tractor Lem, as he's affectionately referred to, but we call him our resident farmer. So Lem Seward, again, got farming experience in Labrador for 30 plus years. And now he's been with us since we had the farm. So this is 6 years now he's been with us. And again, he's a jack of all trades. He's not just a farmer, he's a mechanic. He is an electrician, a welder, a carpenter, and he's just so good with people. He's interested in things. I love people who are interested in things, and Lem is one of those people. And whenever you meet him, you'll be his enthusiasm is infectious. But I think the reason we've been able to do so much with the Pye Centre in such a short time is because of these incredible people right here who are hands-on, feet on the ground here, hands in the dirt, and they're talking to the people, and that's why the Pye Centre is something that I'm very, very proud of, and it's because of them. And so a little bit more on food systems research. So the folks up here on the right, they're with Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada. They come up every single year. They consult with us throughout the year to set up their research trials, and they've been able to help us with that. And then they pass on their findings to local producers. So they've done things like variety trials, season extension technology, greenhouse gas sequestration. They do compost trials, alternative pest management. So really some of the things that we wanted farmers mention to us is that they really want to know how to grow things better that they grow all the time, like the potato, carrot, turnip, cabbage. So what we did is we established variety trials. So we test out different varieties. Of course, because we're in a boreal forested area, our seasons are very short. So we have about 100 frost-free days here. So season extension technology like hoop houses, greenhouses, all this kind of technology is extremely important. So that's where they do that every year as well. They test out these different methods. Of course, how do you keep carbon in the soil? Carbon is incredibly important to growing things, let alone the environment. But, it was a perfect mix of those priority areas that allowed us to do this. So enhancing the soil. Typically our soil here is poor quality in the sense that there's very little organic material in it. So understanding carbon and its relationship here is important. Inputs are extremely expensive. And again, our soil is not rich in organic matter. So compost trusts, they've been able to find local inputs like local brush, manure from a local cattle farmer, put it together in these giant piles, but they use PVC pipes to put through the bottom and speeds up the process. And they monitor it all summer to see what the temperature is. And they've been able to turn a lot of this material into usable compost in a very short amount of time, which scaled up could contribute greatly to further food production here in Labrador. And of course, bugs, we see bugs we don't see anywhere else here. And of course, every gardener farmer knows that those are important to understand, which ones are good, which ones are bad. So they study that as well. And of course, this is just the beginning, and we have lots more to discuss and research later on. But I just wanted to mention Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada because the organization, but specifically these people you see here up in the picture, they are the reason, because they're very community minded. They understand the mission and it aligns well with both of our organizations. So it's been really, really great. So land-based learning, I mentioned, School of Arctic and Subarctic Studies. That's the farm has been a classroom in a sense for that. Labrador Lands and Waters Science Camp, and local grade school field trips down here. So I'm going to show you some pictures and things around that. We also have wellness and community. Again, I'm kind of going through the three pieces in a little more detail. But we have a sensory garden here, gathering space. So we have an outdoor gazebo where we use as a classroom. We have walking trails, accessible walking trails, and this year we're going to try out a snowshoe trail throughout the farm so that we can keep this place accessible throughout the year, not just during the growing season. Long-term care, berry picking. There are so many blueberries and red berries that grow here right now, and that's another huge reason why I don't want to clear any more land. I think we have enough agricultural space here. But those things are treasures, and they also get people coming here, which is what, of course, what I really want more of, so we keep that there. Community. So community is kind of the focus, and we have in all of Memorial University, we really punch above our weight in terms of community engagement. And that is done through doing things like fresh local produce and seedling sales. We do that throughout the summer, and in the spring, we try to connect with farmers by offering starter seedlings to them, and we get to talk to them in the summer and then throughout, and then in the fall to see how things went. So it's about establishing that connection, and that's been really helpful for us. We do Farm Fridays, which is a collaboration between us and the Labrador Campus Library. So throughout the year, the first Friday of every month, we gather at the library, campus library, growers, producers, food enthusiasts of all experience levels gather and kind of talk about what they're planning, what worked, what didn't, and it's an awesome initiative. Of course, I mentioned Farm Fun Day, which happens in the first weekend of October every year. We've had 5 thus far. Our first one was 300 people came. Now we're up to about 1,200 people coming every year, and it's become kind of an annual tradition, but it's also a great way to connect with the community at large. Gather around events, that's community kitchens where we kind of learn about food and discuss food. Judy Boise was our presenter for those. We also do tours at the farm, and we do so much more. As you can imagine, like I don't have time to really get into a lot of this stuff, but I just want to give you a sense of sort of where we're at, what we've been doing. And again, food systems research, it's important to have the right partners. And you'll see up here, this is Dina and Sean. They're going through with the blowtorch weeder, which is so cool. They always have summer students that work with us throughout the summer. So the scientists and the technicians will come help set everything up. But then what they'll do is they'll hire 3 or 4 student positions to help us all summer. So they tend to their trials, but the rest of their time is devoted to us, which is, again, such an incredible partnership, very mutually beneficial. And over on the right there, you see that's lamb. So every year during research week in November, we always kind of do a presentation of all the research and things happening at the farm for producers and farmers so that they can hopefully gain knowledge from the trials and the research that's happening at our farm. And that's Lem. Like I told you, he's not only a farmer, carpenter, welder, all that stuff. He's also an awesome guest speaker as well. Land-based learning, I just kind of want to show you guys some pictures of what I mean when I say that. Um, Back here on the left, that's the wing commander for 5 Wing Goose Bay is a guest judge. One of the final projects for learning for one of our courses in the master's program, PhD program, is a cook-off. So you learn about Labrador all semester, and then you have to cook and incorporate what you've learned from the course into food, and then present it to these judges in a way that kind of communicates that and symbolizes it. It's a very unique, innovative, kind of creative way of thinking about learning, and not only learning, but also testing knowledge. On the right, you'll see our dean, Dr. Sylvia Moore. She is in the back of a hay wagon, which Lem was driving around the farm to show these students as well about what we're doing here. And also just because I look at the Pye Centre as one big classroom, no matter where you are on it. Again, it's all about what does a classroom look like, you know? And these are all classrooms that you're looking at here. So this up in the top left, that's a gathering at the farmhouse where I'm at right now. So we have this big, beautiful house that has the living room space, full kitchen, classrooms downstairs, and office space, of course. But this is where a lot of the learning happens, and it's in a much more comfortable, inviting setting. In the top middle there, you look at this, and this is a circle that happened out behind the house, sharing circle. Over on the right, you might notice a familiar face in that picture. That's Dana. She's another student in the graduate program here, but that would have again been a part of that cook-off, that Labrador cook-off. Down in the left, you'll see very respected elder, Innu elder, Dr. Elizabeth Panashaway. She comes down and is often a part of these gatherings, these land-based learning gatherings. And here she's showing us how to make her Innu donuts. But again, just being in the presence of somebody like Elizabeth Panashaway is in and of itself a master's course, as far as I'm concerned. And that's another example of how we've been able to incorporate land-based learning, because that Labrador tent she's in, I set up. I helped her put the boughs down, which is an incredibly intimidating thing when you talk to somebody who was born in these tents and lived in them all her life. And I'm new to it. She was very gracious, made me feel really good about it, and of course gave me a lot of pointers on how to make it better. But again, like I said, you can't help but be around her and learn. And this space, the Pye Centre, gives us that opportunity, which is really wonderful. And over on the right is again a class picture, of course, of folks outside the Labrador tent. And here is the land-based learning extended. So that's the Labrador Lands and Waters Science Camp. This is a couple of pictures from that, where there's obviously a polar bear activity, or a polar bear module from researchers who have dedicated their lives to monitoring and conserving polar bears here in Labrador. Over on the right, this is down at the Healthy Waters Labrador boardwalk that they have. So they are a conservation group as well that kind of preserves the wetlands down there. And they are talking to our campers in that picture. And here again is the Labrador Lands and Waters. So again, this is a polar bear skull. And in the middle here, there's Marine Institute often comes up and helps us with a module that's based on kind of ocean science. And on the right is Scott Nielsen's module. He's an archaeologist and also a faculty member here at the Labrador campus. And this is one of our campers here as well, just testing out how you screen things when you're doing archaeological research. All based out of the Pye Centre, of course. And of course, wellness and community has kind of been a big one for us. Like I said, this is a photo opportunity down here. I'm taking part on bottom left. That's Farm Day. In the middle, this was Sheshashi Innu School's grade 9s came up last week, or a couple weeks ago now, to help us harvest potatoes. And of course, they're talking to Lem, and nobody knows more about potatoes than Lem, or at least there's nobody as passionate about potatoes as Lem. And down up on the top right, again, that's farm day. So we have a bunch of games out. And look how adorable that kid is. Down on the bottom right is me with my Uncle Stanley, who's a part of long-term care. So he's been living in long-term care for about 12 years now. But it's an exciting opportunity for me because he's from Hopedale. He spent all of his time in Aldertook Bay, where he would drive up there in boat in the summer. Spring, he'd go up on skidoo. He trapped fish. He lived up there. That was his entire life. And then he had a stroke one year, and he's been in long-term care ever since. In his mind, I still believe that he's always going up the bay and planning that. So it really makes me happy to know that at least once a week in the summer, he gets to come down and be outside, and I get to see him. And so that's kind of one of the, I guess, a personal thing for me that I really enjoy about the Pye Centre, that it gives folks like him some accessibility or some time and reason to get outside. And I want to continue that and enhance the experience here for folks like my Uncle Stanley, because there are so many. We all have family there. And if we can do anything to make their lives better, it's worth it. And that's, again, long-term care. This is the one on the bottom. That's the first year that they came down. So that's me in the back, my daughter Violet with the blue hat on and right in front of me, or light blue hat, and my son William with the dark blue hat. And of course, Jeff Anderson is the kind of facilitator of all that. So he's our partner for that, and make sure we continued after this day. Up on top there, you'll see that's them in the gazebo, which is accessible because they can take their wheelchairs out and go right onto the concrete. On the right is our newest thing, and you'll notice some partridges in there too, right? But that's the accessibility trail that we're designing, and we started the first phase of it this year with those folks in mind, so that we can hopefully get them out there, see the berries, see the trees, see the partridge, and get them to connect again with what it is that they likely want to connect with in terms of food, just engagement with the land, being outdoors. And so, yeah, that's where that partnership is growing and developing into. And here are some events. I just wanted to kind of give you an example of some of the things that we do throughout the year. I wanted to particularly focus on the Gather Round poster up in the top left there. It says, gather around and let's chat, eat, learn about food. So we really want to do more community outreach in terms of learning skills around cooking, learning skills around preserving, and just about connection to food and how important that is to people's wellness and creating better relationships and things. And we had 4 as our trial, and Judy Voisey was our kind of host, I guess. And it happened right here at the Pye Centre. And at each component, we would go out into the farm and pick something to bring in. We'd also eat, of course. There'd be lots of food. But we'd also learn something, like we would learn how to prepare a partridge. We learned how to make bread one day. And so each one kind of focused on those 3 components. So food, harvesting, and also learning. And then we made sure that there was something for people to take away with them. But it was an excellent way to introduce ourselves to different people who never come to the farm or to the Pye Centre. And yeah, it went over really well, and the pilot went well. So we're planning on doing many more of them in the future. We also sell seedlings. We sell produce, Farm Friday. You can see the poster there. And of course, our annual Farm Fun Day poster right in the middle. So our infrastructure here is what's important. So this is the Pye Centre farmhouse. It's a big, beautiful house that I'm in right now. I wish I had a GoPro on or something that I could go around and show you. But I think, it offers a space for us to gather. This is our nursing students who came down for a boil up early in the spring. And the Northern Lights were out one time, and I came down here to take some pictures because I knew that there would be a nice opportunity. So that's what's happening there in the left. But our infrastructure, farmhouse. We also have this geodesic growing dome that, some of you who are familiar with the south coast of Labrador have seen these around as well, in Port Hope and other places. But, we got a grant to do this. So this is specifically designed to withstand snow load, because eventually we want to start our seeds even earlier and earlier. But this has been a really unique thing. It's always a good conversation piece. Like, what is that? We get to go in and show them. And of course, Labrador tent. There's always one poking up around here somewhere in the summer. It's like one of my favorite things to do. and the Pye Centre gazebo. So this is a gazebo, but we call it an outdoor classroom and gathering space. So oftentimes, if we don't want to be inside and weather's nice, this is usually where we go, right? And on the right, you'll see Sarah, who's our librarian. She was auctioning off corn during our Farm Fun Day to raise money for the local food bank. And again, it's like a focal point for the Farm Fun Day as well. So it serves many purposes. And again, on the left, you'll see our sensory garden. We have three pieces of equipment that kind of look like plants and mushrooms and things, and they make beautiful noise. They're kind of like a wind chime almost, but they're all in tune with each other. So there's no dissonance in the sound. So it always sounds very pleasing. It's like a wind chime that you can play. People love it. And on the right, you'll see local farmer Murray Perrette. He has bees and keeps bees and sells honey and things. But he really liked what we were doing here in terms of education and hands-on experience. So he actually built a beehive box that you can open the door and it's glass. So you can see the bees doing all of their thing, you know, making honey. You see the combs. Everyone tries to find the queen, and it's just fascinating to watch. And I think it's another good example of just kind of like an organic community collaboration that we have with one of our farmers here in town. And actually, I want to mention this bench. So Pat Hibbs in Northwest River built these benches. We have four of them. They absolutely weigh a ton, but they're absolutely beautiful. And again, every year we kind of add a little piece to the farm, and this is kind of our latest piece. Of course, I'm at 35 minutes here now, so I'm going to kind of cut it off here, but I just wanted to let you know, the Pye Centre is more than a farm. And hopefully from this presentation, you'll see that it's actually just a place where you get to engage with the land. I sincerely believe that any activity that can take place outside can be enhanced by being outside. And that's kind of how I think of it. Pye Centre as a whole. It is very multidimensional, and it's all thanks to our community, and it's all thanks to our infrastructure, and it's all thanks to the Labrador campus believing in this, and the leaders here believing in this, and community. And so yeah, I'll end it there, and I'll open it up to some discussions. And if you ever need to get in contact with me, this is my information. So for now, I'll just say thank you, and hopefully learn something, and hopefully there's some questions for me.